All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for a trialogue. While we just spoke about how the speaker mentioned about, being ageless in your spirit, right? So yes, an important element is the skin that may also worry us, right? So the skin talks is what this upcoming discussion would be focused on for a healthy, glowing skin. The intention behind holding this session, getting a greater understanding of the skin condition is important, which concerns women. This will just help, nutritionists, pharmacists, or dermatologists to make contributions for the best product, the best food, the best regime, routine, therapies that they can sort of curate for us, right? So allow me to please welcome our seasoned discussants of the panel, ladies and gentlemen, as we progress. Let's welcome Dr. Kiran V. Godse, MD, PhD, FRCP, Professor of Dermatology, Department of Dermatology, D.Y.Patil Hospital and School of Medicine. Well, a hearty welcome to you. With that, we're also very happy to be welcoming Ritesh Jain, BU Head Prescription and Consumer, South Asia, Galderma, India. With that, we'll also be welcoming Ishi Khosla, the practicing clinical nutritionist, columnist, author. And yes, the strings of this discussion would be woven together by Dr. Nambiar, our session moderator, the executive director, Gimcare Hospital and Chairperson, DHIA, that's DH India Association. And Dr. if you're all set, we are all ready to give you the charge.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Shikha, for the kind introduction. And I'm very happy to see Kiran, Ishi, and Ritesh here. And so just to set the ball rolling, I just want to start with the fact that when we were growing up, there was a lot of sayings that we always heard that beauty is just skin deep, and sort of belittling whatever we wanted to do about our skin and to take care of ourselves. And it was sort of looked down upon by many as waste. Over the years, growing up, we have realized that skin is a reflection of our well-being, our health. It is a reflection of what we hide in our totality of health, and it can mirror what your health condition and your mental condition is. So therefore, it is not to be belittled. It is not to be taken lightly. And there are, for today's discussion, also hesitant about discussion. So we have a lot of people who complain about, let's say, sensitive skin. We sometimes do not realize that, there is skin and there is sensitive skin. So a lot of people suffer from this increased sensitivity and related problems. So I want to start with Dr. Kiran. Dr. Kiran, would you just explain to the viewers as to why some people have more sensitive skin and what are the manifestations of this hypersensitivity, so to say?
Yeah, so sensitive skin is one of the common complaints in our OPDs. The study has shown that almost 30 to 40% ladies complain of sensitive skin. And what do you mean by sensitive skin is anything comes in contact of man's face, like household products or any cosmetics. There is intense stinging, itching, burning, and they just can't tolerate anything. To some extent, some people say, I can't even tolerate water. And that is true to the fact. And what we can see is the redness and dryness and scaling and sometimes hives or burning, which we see on the face. And it's actually truly bothersome for many ladies, and they can't do cooking work. They can't go out in sunlight. And many times it is miserable. You have to understand this. But the causes are many. Obviously, as a dermatologist, we try to find out the cause. But the few common things are maybe atopic skin or allergic skin, or contacts with strong abrasives on the skin, or some home remedies which have destroyed the skin, sunlight, UV rays, and OTC products which they use for fairness or anything which can actually burn the skin. All these make the skin more sensitive, and then they just can't tolerate. Moment somebody uses OTC steroid cream for a few weeks, afterwards, for the temporary time, they get that fine shine. But then there is an intense burning and itching, and then it takes a lot of time, at least 3 to 6 months, to wear it out. And for that, we have got effective medicines available, the creams and moisturizers, which you use. But yes, it is a common problem, and especially more in ladies. Thank you.
I'm going to move to Ritesh now. Ritesh, Dr. Godse spoke a lot about these creams and all that, some which are good and some which are bad for the sensitive skin. So do you want to tell us about the products that are available to address these issues? And what are the wrong products to not use?
Thanks, Dr. Uma, for the question. First of all, I would like to thank Economic Times for getting us on this platform. Yeah, Dr. Kiran is absolutely right. That sensitive skin as a concern has increased significantly over the last few years. In fact, the consumer report says that as many as 60 to 70% of the women now have started saying that they have sensitive skin, which is predominantly a self-diagnosed condition. And the top 5 symptoms that come across when you do consumer researches is roughness, tightness, irritation, weakened skin barrier, which are among, and dryness, which are among the top 5 symptoms which correlate to sensitive skin. Now the thing is that the skincare market is ever growing. In fact, consumers are now moving from a pure play moisturizing to a complete regimen, which is now they are cleansing, they are moisturizing, and also applying sunscreen. And many a times to take care of the skin, like Dr. Godse clearly mentioned that a lot of them move directly to the OTC products. Sensitive skin essentially requires special care, special treatment, and therefore the consumers should definitely rely on the recommendation of a dermatologist and should basically rely on those products that are strongly backed by science, clinical studies, and have a very strong dermatology recommendation. Now, and these products are specifically designed to take care of sensitive skin. Some of the key parameters that the consumer should look out for while they are selecting products for sensitive skin is that it should be fragrance free, because fragrance can lead to unnecessary irritation, because sensitive skin has a weakened skin barrier, and some of the ingredients which are used to create fragrance can penetrate into the skin and cause irritation. Second, it should be pH balanced to make sure that it is absolutely suitable to the skin. Plus, these products should also have some form of skin conditioners in order to make sure that the irritation is not there on the skin. Like Dr. Godse mentioned that, these consumers can have severe problem when they go into the sun, or they go, or they cook or do anything. In fact, can have problem with even water, as gentle as water. So therefore, the product should be, very, very, I would say, the ones that are very suitable to the skin and does not cause any unnecessary irritation. So therefore, selecting the right kind of product is very, very critical. And that is where, we as an organization and as a brand has really been able to bring these products, which are time tested, available in so many countries, to make sure that at least Cetaphil range of product are very much suitable for sensitive skin, as we have a lot of studies and we keep bringing in these products with a lot of science behind them to make sure that we are able to take care of sensitive skin in the best possible manner.
Thank you, Ritesh. I think you have made it very clear for everybody to understand that there is a difference between self-care and self-prescription. And I think this online availability of products and, we are all very trigger happy with our mobiles for just going and selecting product for anything and Googling symptoms and self-prescribing. I think we should refrain from that. I need to have Ishi's views on the fact that, today we've seen that our diets and all that have changed tremendously. And if we see a lot of our problems are also because we are malnourished in a different manner, as in we do not eat right. And that's also the kind of malnourishment of probably, the fact that we can afford more, purchasing power has increased, and we have so many things available. So Ishi, would you tell us how is it that is reflecting on our skin today? Ishi, you're muted.
Thank you so much for having me here, E.T. And great platform and great areas of concern today, which even as a practicing nutritionist, I find that there are so many more issues to deal with today than ever before, particularly you're talking about the inflammation on the skin and the irritation and sensitivity, and many, many more. As we go along this conversation, we discuss them. But certainly you're absolutely right in your first comment that beauty is actually not skin deep. And it has a lot to do with your insights and literally reflects what is your internal health and well-being. So this irritation or the sensitivity on the skin is really showing us that there is a sensitivity somewhere inside. And that, like you rightly said, has come about from the changing lifestyles and dietary patterns that we are seeing today, and very dramatic shift in the way we are eating. And the impact of that is actually now being felt on the digestive system and the gut. And today, scientists have established a connection between the gut, brain, and skin axis. It's all connected. And it has a lot to do with what we are eating and how the sensitivity, food sensitivity is reflecting in skin sensitivity. So we find food allergies have gone up, and once we just modulate the diet and do an elimination diet, several forms of these sensitivities on the skin, they change and they become better. We see rosacea, we see a lot of other pigmentation issues, etc. All of these getting better once we are addressing the digestive health and the gut health and the health of the microbiome. So there are many mechanisms by which this is happening. And so I have divided it into two parts, which is one is gut health, and the other is insulin resistance and the diet and the hormonal effect. And both of these together play a role in a sensitive skin, and they indirectly then begin to affect the nutrition. So the nutritional content or component of the diet, which could be maybe compromised, but gets further compromised by the fact that the digestive system is not in 100% effective mode. So because the gut barrier is the biggest, like the skin is the largest organ and the skin barrier is an immune organ, the gut inside is the immune organ, and also therefore the integrity of this barrier reflects also the integrity of the skin outside. So I think they're totally related, and you're absolutely right in the fact that we can address it by local application, but if we find the solutions within us by the diet that we eat and address the nutritional deficiencies, etc., we can, and we actually see those kind of changes in people's skin and skin texture and all the other issues that we'll be talking about.
Thank you so much, Ishi. In fact, there are a lot of tests that we studied during our medicine days, that to diagnose malnutrition, you had various, appearances of skin and everything like that. And I think the spectrum has only grown because of the various deficiencies that we have with the different types of diets that we take. So having addressed this issue of sensitivity, I want to come to actually something which is even more common when people notice and what people are worried about, and that is skin pigmentation. Whether it is hyperpigmentation or hypopigmentation, I think there is an individual, or there are very few who are not worried about the pigment on the skin. And skin pigmentation has been something right from the young age, and then of course during teenage it's even worse, and even till old age people are worried about this. And with the kind of environment, and now with the increasing pollution, there are, these all have adverse effects on our skin and the different pigments that, appear at different times. So Dr. Godse, will you just put sort of medical perspective to the different kinds of pigmentation issues that people face, and women of all ages, they have to struggle with?
Right. The pigmentation could be both hyper and hypopigmentation. So hyper is basically everybody is bothered about that my skin is dark here, my skin is pigment here, and that is what they worried. And especially females, they suffer this a lot because One of the commonest causes is known as melasma or Wang in local language. And the common cause here is the sunlight, the UV rays, and the hormones in the body and the heat. So ladies often cook in front of kitchen. So infrared rays also give rise to pigmentation. The changes in hormones give rise to pigmentation, and sunlight can cause pigmentation. So that's why this pigmentation is more common in women than men. And typically here, obviously, they need to take care in form of regular use of sunscreen, take care of their diet, and important is to prevent OTC remedies to clean away the pigmentation, because they are easily available, and beauty parlors and all, they sell the creams which have got some steroid which lightens them temporarily, and then it will become more dark. And the melasma is an issue where they need a lifetime continuous skin care in form of sunscreens, the bleaching creams, and the nutrition. So all these three makes it important, and typically we see more ladies with this and less with men. That about other causes hypopigmentation or white spots on the face. Again, the white spots on the face typically are in the young age or teenagers. Commonly they are due to atopic skin or dry skin or the cracking of skin. Other is again, sunlight can cause white spots on the body. And the third dreaded disease is vitiligo, leukoderma, which patients are really bothered to know. Typically, all these need barrier repair creams or emollients or moisturizer they must use regularly. Take care of sunlight by using a sunscreen, and a diet in form of zinc, B complex, and vitamins to take care of skin. So these three makes the skin healthy and supple. But obviously, both these problems we see, but commonly is the hyperpigmentation. But there are effective remedies available to control the disease in form of creams and sometimes chemical peels and lasers also. But the pigmentation is one which we must take care about, and use of regular sunscreen is one of the utmost foundation for prevention of this. Thank you.
Dr. Godse, in extension to this question, there are just two clarifications I want you to make. One is, I think at the times that we were growing up 30, 40 years ago, there wasn't so much of use of sunscreen that was prevalent in our country. And now we find that we need more and more. So one is there is something in the environment that is causing this. And secondly, I want you to sort of touch upon the pre-melanotic condition, or melanoma is a condition which can start with hyperpigmentation and people could ignore it, and that's a form of skin cancer. So, people can do some self-remedies and start putting creams and things like that, and it might actually be a melanotic patch. So can you just highlight these two conditions?
Yeah, right. So as you rightly said, 30 years back, this was not a problem, but with industrialization and the cities, the ozone layer is diminishing and UV rays are directly hitting on our skin. So that's why the pigmentation problem is more common now, and it is more in the cities and less in the suburbs, less in the rural areas or villages where there is not much of pollution. So pollution, environmental triggers, and cities all play a role. So that's why there is more and more importance of using a sunscreen to prevent the sun damage, which is there. And obviously now all of us know that regular use of sunscreen can prevent that. Other problem is about melanoma or pre-melanotic condition. Now remember, the skin cancers are not very common in Indian or dark skin. They are more common in Caucasian skin. But any black patch or black mole on the face or anywhere on the body which is increasing in size or giving burning, itching, or becoming more than 1 centimeter in size, obviously a dermatologist can be able to diagnose it with the use of dermoscopy or with the biopsy. So obviously any mole which is increasing, irritable, you must think of the malignancy, and best person is a dermatologist who can see and tell you whether it needs a biopsy or any further treatment. So these cancerous conditions, although rare, but you must have an eye on it and check for it regularly, especially those who are doing outdoor activities. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Kiran. Ishi, I have to come to you now to this. I am reminded of when we were growing up, our grandmother and mother, because we all used to live in joint families. And the grandmothers would be very particular about what they fed you. And of course, the different kinds of things that they would homemade, creams and potions that they would apply, but very much they would insist on how your diet has to be proper. Again, during pregnancy, your diet had to be proper, and there were so many things. As the families are becoming nuclear, and many of us are living alone, and all of these inputs from our seniors are missing, what is it that you see, what people can do to take care of themselves in their diet to make sure that the skin is glowing and healthy?
Yes, unfortunately, we've lost the value for a lot of good things that were happening as a part of our traditional practices and culture, and two things which are sometimes even harmful. And so and particularly I think post delivery, post childbirth, there were such good practices of care of the mother and the mother's diet, and so that now we realize the importance of these things on a scientific level. I can, even as a daughter-in-law, in my days, I would dismiss a lot of good things that my mother-in-law had told me to do, and I never found any sense in her saying that if you don't take care now, aage jaake problems aayengi. So please ensure that you get this massage and you eat this and you have this special water. And I just, for the life of me, coming from the background that I did, have no connections, and nothing resonated with me, and I took it so lightly and almost dismissed it. And today I know that this is really the point where I see most of my patients tipping over post-pregnancy. They develop their thyroids and their autoimmune problems and their depression and joint pains, and lots and lots of things come up post-pregnancy. And now the science is very clear that the gut of the pregnant woman changes dramatically during pregnancy, and particularly in the last trimester. And it becomes so bad that they say that it is almost as bad as a person with inflammatory bowel disease. And therefore, taking care of this post-pregnancy is the most important thing to prevent problems later in life. So you are bang on in saying that they knew it better, and we are just finding out. And the same applies to skin. And having said that, I would just, because the conversation was on the darkening of the skin, would like to add to the, the whole issue about this. Dr. Kiran has clearly said there are different kinds of dark pigmentations. And the most important, the one I see, is in people who I see with problems with weight and insulin imbalance. And, what we call metabolic syndrome. The excess insulin or insulin resistance causes this pigmentation. It's also called acanthosis nigricans, and it comes in various, manifestations of different sites on the body, and also on the chin and special areas. So insulin is nothing but an imbalance, basically too much of insulin for the same amount of glucose. So glucose is really a byproduct of sugars and carbohydrate-rich food. So we are seeing people having too many high refined carbohydrates in the diet, and whether it's a form of bakery products and sweets, or in the form of simple grains, excess more rice and more chapatis than the body actually needs, and developing belly fat, or sometimes even without the belly fat, there is insulin resistance. So I think a diet which addresses the amount of carbohydrate that a person is eating, the amount of free sugars, as well as exercise and activity, and the quality of the carbohydrate, which means a low glycemic carbohydrate versus a high glycemic, which means those foods which throw up their sugars faster than the ones which don't. The slower ones are better for the skin and for pigmentation and for other metabolic advantages. So I think the diet really plays a key role, and we see many other manifestations also of insulin resistance. And I think not having also the right kind of quantity of protein and a good balance of good fats is also responsible for this insulin resistance, which affects the hormones, and which affects, so it's like with chicken and egg, we don't know what comes first, but definitely these situations can be manipulated very effectively by simple changes in diet, which don't cost very much.
Thank you so much, Ishi. We figure out that there isn't a serious underlying disease to the skin pigmentation. We know that there are a lot of products that the companies like Galderma will have for, increasing the radiance and lightening the skin patches. Ritesh, do you want to give us a brief overview of those?
Yeah, sure. Thanks once again. What I want to first tell the audience is that there is a very, very huge difference between a pigmentary disorder and getting fair. I think we are a country that is completely obsessed by getting fair. And to be honest, when I was young, 25 years back, I used to use a, fairness cream to make sure that I look more fair. And that is how this, usage of fairness creams in the market have really increased significantly over the years. In fact, you all will be surprised to know that fairness creams are the biggest segment in the skincare market, which again clearly shows that how obsessed we are with this word fairness. But we as an organization completely believe in inclusivity, and we fundamentally believe that whether you are dusky or dark, you are absolutely fine, and you have a healthy skin. So as an organization, our request is that please don't, which Dr. Godse also mentioned, that go over the counter creams and products that are available for fairness, because that is not the right thing to do. Pigmentation is a medical condition that should be diagnosed medically with the help of a doctor, or consultation with a dermatologist to make sure that you are using the right product for the right kind of skin condition. And as Dr. Godse said, and Ishi also said, that there could be many manifestations why the pigmentation is happening. So it is important to understand the right reason behind pigmentation. Also, it has been observed that consumers with sensitive skin are twice more prone to have pigmentation. So again, sensitivity again plays an important role in driving towards pigmentation. So what we saw, Dr. Uma, was there was a dearth of products that are designed for pigmentation in sensitive skin, and that is where our global team took that initiative of doing a in-depth research to figure out that what it will need to create a product portfolio that can really manage pigmentation for sensitive skin so well. And that is how we have launched this new range, which has got niacinamide and C-daffodil that are natural ingredients, which is again fragrance free, to make sure that the sensitive skin is taken utmost care of. It has been tested in 8 countries, including US, Japan, Singapore, to make sure that we bring the right product in the country, and also a lot of science behind it. So again, my advice and request to our audience would be that please make sure that you consult again a dermatologist, read through their views before using any product, to make sure that you are using the right product. Just does not rush towards being fair, but make sure that if you have dark spot, which is a manifestation of pigmentation, or uneven skin tone, these are the 2 major issues which comes with pigmentation, is adequately taken care of with the right kind of skin regimen. And sunscreens are a must, as Dr. Godse said that. So make sure that you follow the complete regimen to take care of your pigmentation issues, to come out of the dark spots and uneven skin tone.
I thank you so much. Actually, we are really running short on time. I think we have crossed our time limit, but can I have 1 minute each on addressing the most important issue? And I think if we don't address acne as the commonest burning point with everybody at all ages, we would not have done justice to this session. So just 1 minute each. Dr. Godse, followed by Ishi, and followed by Ritesh. I will not call out, I just want to save time.
Yeah, acne is common, but typically now with the COVID pandemic, the mass acne are the commonest thing. Prolonged closure of the face and lower half of the body, there is a constant perspiration, sweating, and oil, and that's why we see mass acne, and it's a new term being coined. And we know the cause is prolonged occlusion that occurs because of the mask. Now, a few remedial measures like using a cotton mask, washing face more often, mild cleansers to apply, and avoid heavy makeup under a mask are a few things which we must do to prevent this, because the pandemic will be there for a few more months or a year, so we need to take care of the skin. And best way to prevent the mass acne is washing your face more often, washing your mask more often, including your face, and use a cotton mask preferably, unless you are compelled to use a special mask. Thank you.
Ishi.
Well, I will just sum it up, because from what I see in my practice, These are, I go a little deeper into the, the issues at how I deal with them. So it's a 4G formula. It starts with gut, girth, grains and dairy, and glucose. So along with that, nutrition therapy and physical activity and lifestyle, and it kind of just helps clear everything, right from whether we talk about acne or we talk about the pigmentation, the health of the gut and the insulin resistance. All of this actually affects our hormones, and all of this happens through what we call the microbiome, and it's a very huge, profound area of conversation, which I will not talk about right now. But certainly, it must be known that addressing or modulating the microbiome through the gut health and through food and probiotics, etc., can play a huge role in affecting our skin, and I see it in my practice on a daily basis. So that's what, and food sensitivities, when I say grains, I mean gluten and wheat and corn, soya, dairy. All of these can have a very detrimental effect in people who are sensitive to them.
Ritesh.
Yeah, I have just
products people rush to, So.
Yeah, I have just two suggestions. One is that acne is a condition where it's not that one size fits all. So you please make sure what is your skin type. There has to be a specific regimen for an oily skin versus a dry skin versus a combination skin. So you have to make sure that you know your skin type when you have acne and use the product that suits a particular skin type. And then there is a specific regimen that you should definitely follow when it comes to acne, which is cleanse your face properly with the right kind of cleanser or a face wash. Make sure that you treat it with the right treatment option, whether it is retinoid or whatever prescription you have got from your dermatologist. Use a moisturizer to make sure that you use a light gel based or any other moisturizer to keep your skin moisturized without producing excess sebum, which will again lead to more acne. And fourth is protect with a very good sunscreen, because like pigmentation, again for acne, sunscreen is the must.
Thank you so much, Ritesh. And I think with that, we should come to the close. And I'm going to just leave everybody with the takeaway messages today. Don't take your skin lightly. Skin is the largest organ of the body. We all worry about our heart and our brain and all of that stuff, but we don't take good care of our skin. So there is nothing to feel small or little about thinking about your skin and looking at these problems, because it could be a manifestation of much larger issues, which are not just those which are just manifesting externally. And it is necessary that we don't, for the smallest of things, just rush to OTC and self-medicate. We should take the opinion of the dermatologist, because what looks like a small innocuous little lesion could be a manifestation of something much deeper inside and a much serious ailment. So these are things that we should know. And when we go and look at topical products, they should be those that are designed with scientific principles and rational principles in mind, and keeping in mind the type of skin that the people have and about sensitivities and stuff like that. So with that, I think that we come to the close of the session, and thank you, ET, for organizing this session for people and at least giving us the opportunity to talk a little more about something that very few otherwise would consider an important topic to discuss. Thank you so much. And thank you, the panelists, Dr. Kiran, Ishi, and Ritesh, for spending so much time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Uma, for that apt observation. And I have to, before anything else, thank the panel, the experts, for bringing to light the dermatological conditions that concern a woman. And I think this is also very good food for thought for, not just us, but also the skin practitioners. So there we go, Dr. Uma. Thank you for that amiable and relatable moderatorship. Thank you. So with that, we are all prepping ourselves for a special talk at the ET Women's Healthcare Summit 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, that's brought to you by Femina and ETH. Well, this discussion would focus on how to walk that tightrope of work-life balance, right? So we will be right back. In the meanwhile, just stay tuned. keep tweeting in, keep sharing your perspectives on social media. We'll just be right back.